right, and good evening. Here's a look at your forecast for the region. Thank you so much for tuning in. Let's show you what we got for the forecast for tonight. Now, overnight tonight, some areas may be a couple degrees cooler than they were, this morning across the region. So a little bit of a cooler spot in parts of northwest Arkansas, even parts of the River Valley. A little bit of the same old forecast compared to, this morning earlier today for parts of Oklahoma. Moving on to the forecast tomorrow, this is when there's going to start to be a little bit more of a change. We got some chances for some showers, maybe a pop-up thunderstorm or two. We'll show you a future scan here in a little bit, but right now, look at the forecast for this afternoon is looking a little bit more mild as we're going to be into the lower 80s, even in parts of the River Valley. So a little bit cooler in some spots. And then a little bit of the same forecast compared to today for parts of Oklahoma, but otherwise it's going to feel not as much like we're in June as it's still going to be warm, it's still going to be humid, but it's not going to be, the overall hot conditions. So not everyone's going to see rainfall tomorrow. So if you want to get out to the pool, keep in mind it's still going to be warm. It's just not going to be the super warm temperatures that you see this time of year, if that's something that you're hoping for. Here's a look at what we've got in terms of the severe weather risk. No highlights for any sort of organized severe weather. We're not anticipating widespread severe weather, anything like that, as we head into tomorrow. But keep in mind, with the potential for a couple pop-up showers and storms, there may be the potential that maybe one or two of those produces maybe some, marginally severe hail, maybe some gusty winds, but certainly nothing widespread. In terms of the rainfall chances, the algorithm is picking up on the potential for greater chances through parts of tomorrow, mostly along and south of I-40. And I tend to agree with that, and we'll show you the rainfall totals and kind of why I'm agreeing with that here in just a second. Further to the west, there's also some chances for rain there as well. They're not super high, and it's going to be one of those days where, not everyone's going to see rainfall. It's just something to be aware of if you're going to be outdoors. That's a look at the algorithm. And then when you compare that to the Weather Prediction Center's quantitative precipitation forecast or the rainfall forecast, higher totals are going to be mostly along and to the south of I-40. So things are kind of aligned there as we head into the overnight into tomorrow. So that's a look at the latest forecast with that. Here's also the Foghorns Morning Fog Outlook, and thank you so much for Foghorns for sponsoring the channel. We're grateful to have them as a sponsor. Be sure to check them out in Fayetteville and Springdale, an Arkansas original since 2004. So that's a look at what we got with that Foghorns Fog Outlook. We're not expecting any sort of widespread fog overnight tonight or anything like that. That's just a quick look at what we've got there. Here's a look at the regional radar and satellite. This is throughout the afternoon into this evening, and you can see well off to the west, we have had some showers and storms in central western Oklahoma, even into northwestern Oklahoma as well. Some activity near the DFW area. In our neck of the woods, mostly quiet, but, can't rule out a couple of pop-ups as we head into tomorrow. And that leads us into future scan radar. So as we head into the, the overnight hours tonight, notice mostly quiet, that activity further to the west, but there's some activity south of I-40 that may develop as we head into tomorrow morning, midday tomorrow. But notice some activity will make its way a little bit to the north, but there should be some activity that kind of remains into tomorrow evening, mostly south of I-40 based off of future scan latest projections. And then as we start headed into Friday, this is Friday morning, still some activity may be developing in parts of the area. So we'll have to keep an eye on this activity. We'll let you know the very latest, but as you can see, the latest indications with future scan showing a little bit better potential along and south of I-40. I think that may be the case, but keep in mind there could be activity outside of there as well. The next 7 days look to be, maybe some rain activity as we head into the next several days. Unfortunately, we got those daily rain chances. So if you have any sort of outdoor activities, you're going to want to stay tuned to the forecast. I wouldn't cancel those plans just yet because not every day is going to be a washout. Timing is going to be a little bit different. Coverage is going to be a little bit different. Once we start getting into that 40% range, 30, 40%, that's when our thunderstorm icons go on, just because there's enough of a potential that it may be a little bit more scattered than, very isolated. So we got the rain chances all the way through Tuesday. Not everyone's going to see rain some of these days, but there will be daily rain chances to be aware of. And then temperatures start to warm up by the time we get to, I'd say midweek next week. Notice 90s once again in parts of the River Valley with the latest update. So we make our way into northeast Oklahoma and, surrounding areas. It's going to be a little bit warmer by the time we get to midweek next week. That forecast should not say 96. It looks like the system's having an issue there. But you can see it's just, consistently going to get warmer as we head on into the next several days. And then southwest Missouri, warmer temperatures on the way. We may get close to the 90s for the first time in recent memory in parts of southwest Missouri. And I keep telling you this, if you are, you and your family headed out to Silver Dollar City over the weekend and you look at this forecast and you're getting a little bit discouraged because you see some rain chances, I wouldn't get too discouraged just yet. We're not talking all-day washouts. Really, any of these days. Every day is going to be a little bit different in terms of the timing, the coverage, and really the only issue that you're going to run into in terms of not being able to do anything at all is, let's say in the case that there was heavy rainfall and it was all day and it may not be, as pleasant to be outside, that would be a problem, and lightning. But notice we're not looking at 100% rain chances any of these days going forward. There is a potential for scattered showers and storms. So with that being said, if you're headed out to Silver Dollar City, and I know it's tough for many families, you can't get away from work, you can't get away from other activities to spend time to do the things like going there with friends and family if you've got a busy life and a busy schedule. And this may be the only time that you're able to go for a while. Something like that. If that's your situation, don't get too discouraged with this. I encourage you to not cancel those plans. Head out there. Of course, the park will be, I'm sure they're going to be on top of anything in terms of lightning. The only thing you'll really need to worry about is bringing the poncho or the umbrella, because if you're worried about that, I would just bring the rain gear just in case. That's a look at our evening forecast. Have a good one. If you like our media and forecast, be sure to support us today on Patreon. You can advertise with us this storm season and throughout the year. Contact us today for availability and pricing. Weather 225 since 2015.